Hi Pisces, welcome to your April 2021 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. Alrighty then. So I've already put up a video for the astrology of April, so for your sign. So check that out. This is going to be just for your tarot. I keep getting the King of Pentacles. I wonder if that means that everybody's gonna get some money, gonna be prosperous. You have a couple of kings. That can be the father. Okay. So the heart of the matter is the Knight of Wands. And if this is going to be a person that's playing a role in your life in April, this might be a Sagittarian, although don't count out an Aries, because that's what I personally vibe with, the warrior energy. But whoever this person is, they can be a nice distraction, or in some cases, if you already are with this person, it can be a little bit aggravating if you're trying to pin them down and get them to actually commit to you, because this kind of person can be very sexy, but not necessarily that committed, at least on the front end of things. Now, this can simply be that change is afoot for you, okay? And this can have a creative angle to it. You may be very adventurous, very ambitious at this time. You may be the one that doesn't want to settle down. This could be like you sowing your wild oats, come to think about it. Somebody may come to visit you that plays a very important role in your life. You have enthusiasm. Sometimes this can even be vigorous in a physical sense. That's why I think of Aries, because it can even be like athletics, sporting events, but I mean, that you're participating in. You might be feeling more generous than usual. Could be like, taking a trip, a vacation, of course, in April. This is the Easter month, or it still is the spring break. You or somebody close to you may be, making an abrupt break from the relationship. You might move. So you could have a new job. Maybe you're going to travel overseas or over a body of water. And this could be like a very sexy time for you, having an affair of sorts. In the past position, we have the Two of Wands. So yes, I mean, this heightens any kind of moving that you might be doing, because you might have been making that decision and whether or not to stay put where you are or move someplace else. And looking at it from the bigger picture, we have the King of Pentacles. You may have a lot of ambition, and it revolves around making money, but not just making enough to live on, making it big. And in order to do that, wherever you are right now might not be the ideal place where you can do that. And so for some Pisces people, that might be the only way to really make those dreams come true. But I want to say that with the King of Pentacles, I'm not suggesting that it's just out of greed that you might be engaging in money in this way. I mean, this can be related to ambition and your status for sure, but it can also be that you want more stability in your life. And with Pisces people, you're not associated with practical matters. You're more of someone who is very imaginative and with that spiritual side of life. And for whatever reason, you may be trying to ground yourself. This is very much in that direction. So having extra money, working hard to get there, being a leader, being reliable, but also, what's that word? Like being consistent. And, just one of the terms in my book, I really recommend this book called Tarot Plain and Simple. And one of the terms that they use is steady progress. And that's what I mean by consistency. Because, some people are very, they're very erratic in how they apply their energies. They kind of, they can be very intense, and then they kind of peter out. And with earth energy, like the King of Pentacles, and especially with the King, because it is that kind of mastery, it's that high level of achievement for the suit cards. The way that you get to that top of the mountain economically is through that kind of steadiness. So even when you talk about budgets, if you're somebody who, you are a spendthrift, and then you get like this kind of remorse, buyer's remorse, and then you say, okay, I'm going to, like a diet too, which kind of is that earth energy too, because you're dealing with food. How people sometimes they binge or whatever, and then they say, okay, I'm going to go on a diet, but they're always yo-yoing. There's not a consistency. The same thing can be with your money, or just in your ambition. This may even be corporate related, like if you're climbing the corporate ladder. And again, I don't know how many Pisces people would thrive in that environment. I could be wrong about that, actually, because you are the chameleon, and let's say you have a moon in Taurus or something like that, or Capricorn, you might just be very well suited for certain things along those lines. Mars in Taurus, Mars in Capricorn, and you might have that side to you for sure. What crosses you is the Seven of Wands. Now, typically, when I read this card as an upright card, it can be like, hey, you have to stand your ground. Hey, you have to be the kind of person, you're not going to let people push you around. But when it's in the challenge position, it's important to pay attention to whether you are on the defensive and perceiving things that aren't necessarily what you think they are, where you're kind of taking offense at things or anything along those lines that isn't meant to be. Now, that could be like a low self-esteem. That could be somebody that isn't quite sure about their own value, on the job. And it's like you might be a little bit too inclined to defend yourself. If you are in, like if you have left a relationship and you're kind of playing the field or dating, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, but just like dating new people, look for that. Look for the tendency to kind of perceive what other people are saying in a rather defensive light, especially if you have a moon in Cancer, Cancer rising. Cancer is one of those signs that really tends to feel like they need to protect themselves. If there is something that is coming up for you where you are being, challenged in some way, you may take the easy way out, and that would be cowardly. So this would be about you definitely, doing that, but you may have a tendency not to want to defend yourself for some reason. If you have moon in, or rising sign in Libra, you may want to just kind of try to seek harmony in a situation or please somebody that is not, they're not, what's that term, like a good, they're not like somebody who is sincere about wanting to compromise with you. They are more likely someone that is looking to put you in that defensive position. So even in personal relationships, if there's some kind of like a choice that you have made, and maybe this Knight of Wands is the other party, and you feel that your needs are, this other person may kind of like shrug their shoulders at your needs. That doesn't mean that you have to agree with that and think, yeah, that, who am I to have any kind of desires in a relationship? I should just accept what is given to me. And that to me is kind of chickening out of your rightful preferences in a relationship. Of course, there are always going to be preferences. You can't, demand. You can't force somebody to think the way that you think or want to accommodate you. But you can, at the very least, state what your feelings are, what, you need to feel comfortable in a relationship. And the same thing with on the job. And I see what Knight of Wands can be like a free agent of sorts. Even like with your work situation. Interestingly, what's coming in now, the Hierophant is a card that sometimes I see as a corporate structure. It can be like any kind of a hierarchy, tradition. This is a card of marriage and tradition. And this is like, if you are having this little moment where you are very, like kind of going crazy in terms of like just wanting to sow your wild oats. I think that typically that would occur for Pisces if somehow you were sprung free from a relationship that was very restrictive. So I don't think that that's just something you would do randomly. I think that that would be as a reaction to something, or even if the other person was the one to break off the relationship, you might react by saying, okay, well, I'm going to have a good old time. Like when somebody goes on a bender, an alcoholic bender, trying to transition into their new way of life. I don't recommend that, but I'm just saying sometimes people do things like that. Of course, probably in a lot of cases they're just looking for another excuse to drink. But the point being that sometimes people go a little crazy because they're trying to get something out of their system. And the Hierophant is very kind of traditional. So bringing it back to that structure in your life, that sense of what has come before. This can be a realization within yourself that you really, at the end of the day, are more conservative and traditional. If you have a moon in Sagittarius or Aries, like I said, I really associate this card more, I'm talking about the Knight of Wands, more with Aries than Sag, but they're both fire signs. And if you have that side to yourself, you may have, and to me the moon can be the shadow self, you may have that side of yourself that is kind of like this rebel, or you just enjoy, like, once in a while, especially if you're exorcising something from your life, you may just have that wild period, and then you get back into your more traditional type of way of being, get it out of your system. And then, the Hierophant can be what is the establishment. This is also about platonic relationships. So not necessarily anything that is an affair type of thing. And so even if it's somebody like that you have a romantic interest in, you might feel that you would rather just get to know them as a person, as a friend. You may be entering some kind of spiritual discipline or spiritual teaching, and this can, give your life more meaning at this time. And the outcome is the King of Cups. Now, another thing that the Hierophant can represent is like a marriage counselor. So if you have felt the temptation to stray from your marriage, or if the Knight of Wands is indicating that your partner is that Knight of Wands, is a womanizer, you may decide to go into counseling. And it's funny because even the King of Cups can be a counselor too. Specifically with the Hierophant, it can revolve around marriage. But it can make you, that kind of counseling can make you emotionally mature because you are connected to cups. All the water signs are. The other water signs are Scorpio and Pisces. Scorpio and Cancer. And so if this is a person that comes into your life, this person might be somebody who you emotionally click with because you're going to have similar ways of perceiving the world. And they are going to, really emotionally, mesh with you. And that may be something that was lacking if you were with somebody that was a fire sign, for instance. Sag is one of the signs that, is the fire sign that forms a square to Pisces, and that can be very irresistible. Very irresistible physical attraction, then that can be a situation where you might feel sometimes that that person doesn't really have a lot of empathy for you, or that they're not sensitive to your needs. There can be an insensitivity, not meaning to, certainly, but just because fire energy tends to be as a sun in Sagittarius, I would say self-centered sometimes, and also that's a masculine energy versus Pisces is a feminine sign. So there's always that, the masculine tends to be brash and kind of, when somebody tries to tell a masculine sign person about their problems, they're more action oriented. Okay, let's, solve this problem. And the other person may not feel heard. They may feel like they're just being relegated to, okay, you have a problem, we're going to fix it and then I'll move on. And they may feel that sense of like, hey, I want you to care that this is happening to me. So anyway, I hope that this resonated, Pisces. If you would like a personal reading, I am promoting my double readings because I think they're a great value financially, and they provide a lot more. They're more extensive, so I have like a double natal chart reading, so natal chart interpretation for an hour, and transits from now until midway through 2022. And that's an hour, so that's a special price. And same with the whole enchilada. That's called Deep Dive. Whole enchilada is a full-length tarot reading and a combination chart analysis with transits for a sale price as well. And then I have other readings. The link is below. I'm at rainandmoonastrology.com. Thank you for watching. Take care. Bye.